Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer!
Hello everybody, and welcome to another fantastic Ask Engineer. We're broadcasting live from downtown Manhattan in the small and kind of crowded Adafruit warehouse factory. I'm Lady Ada, I'm the engineer. With me is special guest, Jessica, the Parallax. That's not really her. Well, I mean, if you were a wrestler, we'd call you the Parallax.
Guess, yeah.
We also have Becky.
Hello,
behind
over
the camera,
here.
and we have Adabot also
Hello.
behind the camera. They might pop in once in a while. We actually don't have enough space. Like, there's like these bins, and like we can't have everybody in front of the camera. But that's cool because we're all friends.
Yeah, we might have to dial people in via Skype because they're in the other side of the...
Yeah. Right. Oh, Becky over there.
Yeah.
We have a lot of exciting stuff in the show, especially with our special guest, Jessica. Tell them what's on tonight's show, Adabot.
Alright, tonight we're going to talk about the show and tell. We had some awesome people showing some awesome projects. It's Robotics Week. We'll talk about what's going on. There is a new product from Google that Lady Ada was working on 13 years ago. We'll talk about that. We have the Hackerspace Passport and the stamp tutorial. We'll be doing a live demo.
You can make stamps.
We finally named the Adafruit male entity.
What was he named? Find out soon.
Yeah, and we'll be talking with Jessica from Parallax about many of the interesting things, including one of the new products that we stock now, which is the Board Education Arduino Shield. We'll have maybe some new products. We'll have a cat, all that and more on Ask an Engineer.
We'll have questions?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll have some questions too.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Okay.
All right, real quick.
You're like, okay, let's get over with.
Yeah, well, we always run out of time when we have guests. So
I know. Well, because we love our guests.
The special code tonight is Parallax. This is just the Parallax is a code. I'll post it up in the chat. But Parallax gets you 10% off many things in the Adafruit store, including the little bot. Do you want to show the bot?
Yeah, hold on.
So this is the only time that we'll probably do a discount. So this is
bleep,
the
bleep,
bot.
bleep. This awesome little bot, which is a really nicely made robot, and we have it put together here. And there's a nicer picture for Arduino. It's the I don't know, the lead product. Like, this is like what you're known for. This is
Robotics,
education shield. Yeah.
Awesome.
And people are having fun with it. We're already seeing some cool projects with it.
Yeah, people really love it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So
cool.
let's start. We had the show and tell. Let's try to remember who was on the show and tell. We had John Engineer.
John Engineer, who talked about he had a 7-segment I2C controller based on the I2C protocol, AT-Tiny something, and he showed off his demo, and it had purple boards because everyone has purple boards. He also talked about the awesome open source hardware questionnaire survey, which has like 975 surveyees. So for those 25 people in the chat who have not filled out the survey and do anything with open source hardware, even if you don't make it, I think if you just buy it or use it, go fill out this survey. Maybe somebody in the chat can post the link to the survey. That would be really awesome because they want to understand what people are doing, and they'll post up results about open source hardware, which is great. Yeah. We also had an awesome garage project, which is a sonar module and an AVR chip, so that this guy, he didn't like how, depending on whether you backed in or forwarded in with your car, it would be, you couldn't use a tennis ball because the windows are slightly different, they're not symmetric. So he used a sonar to blink these LEDs so you'd know when your Starship was docked. What else did we have? We had a fellow who's learning about LEDs with his Ardex, and he wants to go to Robo Games, and so he's doing great. He's doing shift registers and LEDs.
Yeah, Jack had that cool propeller.
Jack, that's right. He's had a 6502 with like 128K SRAM and a propeller, and it's totally going to do something awesome 1 week from now at Propeller Expo, so we should have gone to Propeller Expo and see this awesome thing that he's going to do when the parts come in tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. And we'll have Jessica explain what the propeller.
Yeah, we're going to talk all about the stuff.
Yeah.
And then did we have anybody before? Oh, we had Chris with an update with RiderNet, the Pony-based Wi-Fi XB system.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then was there anybody else?
And then we had Phil Bergez.
And then we had Phil Bergez, the Paint Your Dragon, who is Adafruit best friend forever, showing off a Saccadi display, and then regaling us with a heartwarming tale of a childhood dream realized.
Yeah.
He basically found like the rosebud of electronics.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
And he told us a story about the Saccadi display from Bill something. I can't remember his last name. And how he found it at the thrift store and it found him, and now he's going to go and bring it to Maker Faire and teach the next generation of LED blinky freaks all about Saccadi displays.
Okay, and can you tell people how they can join the weekly show and tell?
Of course! To join the weekly show and tell, we do it through Google Plus Hangout. So all you have to do is make a Google Plus account and then post a comment on my personal Lady Ada, not Adafruit, Lady Ada's Google Plus feed. I usually post like once or twice a week saying, hey, respond to this right now if you want to be added to the circle, because I have 500,000 followers, so if I invite them all, we would have a lot of people in the chat. So we have to add you to this circle, which has like a couple hundred people in it, and then you can show a project anytime in the future, and you'll be invited. If you're not, you want to see the invitation, and you have to do it a couple days before, because I'm not going to check the Google Plus page an hour before the chat, so do it now. If you want to show something on the show.
Okay.
Later.
And maybe just can do this one. It's National Robotics Week.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
sure.
is the news section.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing the news.
News.
Yeah, so this is the third year, I think, of Robotics Week that they're doing it. Yeah, so...
Who's they?
iRobot. iRobot
Okay.
puts it on. Or their education division, whatever that's called. But yeah, so it's just basically a celebration of robots and robots in education, robots in industry. So there's a whole bunch of robotics-themed events going on. So I think it's nationalroboticsweek.org. They have an events calendar. Check it out. See if some cool
There's something in San
robot
Francisco,
stuff.
right? I don't know.
Yes.
You guys are in Bay Area.
Yeah, we're close. But we'll be doing our own Robo Week
That's true.
sort of event.
Okay, cool.
So that's like the Parallax Expo. So Parallax Expo is part Robo Week, and then also kind of all the other stuff.
Okay, well,
We do.
Yeah,
we're
why
going to
don't we
totally...
talk-
You want to talk
why
about it
don't
now?
Well, we're going to introduce you
Okay.
formally.
Yeah, let's do
so-
it in the
Okay.
Parallax section.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll get
Cool.
deep into
keep
the
going.
Propeller Expo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up.
This too bad I put in this show. You have to deal with this.
It's funny because when I saw the Google Glass thing, I was like, oh, I bet this really embarrassing photo of me is like a 19-year-old is still on the internet.
So this is over
And
a
it
decade
is.
over a decade ago.
It's a decade ago.
You were actually using what really is the prototype for Google Glass, the Google goggles.
This is the Google Goggles Alpha, or rather, everyone who is in this research lab at the same time as me is now working for Google and working on this project. So I kind of I'm like, wow, like it's just a continuation a decade later. But as you can tell, the hardware was a lot bigger than we didn't have smartphones. They didn't exist yet. So we had like an iPac, the HP iPac, which if anybody remembers was just a total, it was like the best thing you could get, and it was a total nightmare. And so we had like an iPac with like an Orinoco card glued to this like VGA handmade card. It was kind of a nightmare. It was all powered from camcorder batteries. But it was basically like a prototype. Now, of course, an Android phone does like everything, right? And more. And so that's why it actually kind of makes sense, because I actually saw when I was doing my master's at the Media Lab like 6 years ago, Pat Starner, who is kind of like the thought leader of wearable stuff and who was who had led this group before in the wearables Media Lab, he said, well, everyone wanted wearable. Well, everyone thought that people would want wearables. What they really wanted was a smartphone, which is basically a wearable because you do wear it and it does everything that a wearable does. And so it makes sense for them to take this like kind of heads-up display stuff and combine it with like the computational power of this phone, which also acts like a phone, which people want, and then use that instead of like an actual wearable where there's stuff glued to your body.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
The interesting thing that I saw was Tim O'Reilly said, wow, if Lamore was playing around with this stuff 13 years ago, what are you playing around with now that we'll see 13 years from now? So we can't talk about that, but we do have some weird stuff.
There's some weird stuff. But I thought that was interesting because actually if there was a photo of Sergey, right? Was it Sergey? At an event with a heads-up display. And I mean, the micro-optical, which is what I'm wearing, is the micro-optical display. It actually is nearly identical. This is like, a decade ago, so it's clunkier. But the basic technology is nearly the same.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't look that much different. I don't even know if micro-optical is even still in business. So maybe they are, and or Google bought them or something. I have no idea.
All right, next up, we had our new product from last week was the Hackerspace Passport. We spent a lot of time getting super high quality Hackerspace.
You have like
passports.
a box of passports.
I have 2,000 of these.
Adabot did something really neat, which I thought was smart. Is you got like 10 different samples of passports. These not real passports, but these Hackerspace passports that samples made, and then you put them in your back pocket for a week.
Yeah.
Not all at once, because that would have been a little weird. But you put like 2 or 3 at a time. And we would walk around and wear them, and you'd sit and like get up and move and like bump into stuff. And then, we picked finally this maker of these passports because they have these really good covers. And when they twist and bend, they don't get that white
Yeah, this is like
Marking.
this is like
It's actual vinyl, and so
Yeah.
it actually like it. You pulled it out of your pocket after a week, and we're like, wow, it looks the same because it's not dyed paper or like dyed vinyl. It's actually full color all the way through.
Yeah, I wanted the best passport, and these are available. People can download the files themselves and make their own, but these are really high-quality ones that'll last you.
They're designed by
lifetime.
Mitch Altman.
Yep, and Matthew Borgatti.
From Borgatti, and I think they did it for Noisebridge, but then everyone was like, wow, this is so cool.
So we have these, and then Becky did an awesome tutorial this week on how you can make your own stamp.
We have a laser cutter. We should use the laser cutter for what it is usually used for, which is making stamps, which is actually interesting. I think laser cutters, that's actually what they're used for.
There's a stamp mode.
There's a stamp mode and everything.
Like, here's how to make stamps.
And it's like in the book, and I think actually all stamp makers, this is what they use because it's quite fast.
And we're gonna do a live demo. You have a Hackerspace Passport, right?
Yeah, let's
here.
So we're gonna go to the overhead.
Okay, so Becky, let's talk. We can't show the video right now, but people can watch the video.
There is no video.
Oh, there's no video?
It's a
Oh, that's right. You did a
tutorial.
It's like a video, just like in.
All right, this is a live Becky video.
So
Do you want
it's
me
a
to
stamp. We tried a couple different things. I wanted to show you the.
play?
Okay, now yeah, it's excellent. Okay,
Okay, so you've got this rubber. Is it special rubber?
It's
or what's
special
the deal?
rubber. We got it from Laser Bits, which is where we order some of our laser stuff.
What's special about it? Is it safe
It's
for laser
low.
use?
This is the no odor rubber.
Oh,
There's
that's
a
good.
low odor rubber, which I'm told by Twitter users that smells like burning car rubber still a little bit. And this is the no odor rubber. And since we have a really good ventilation system anyway, I didn't smell a single thing, even if it was mildly low odor. But I wanted to show you a couple different passes. So like this one over here is only one pass on the laser with the settings, and then you go again and again to get deeper and deeper grooves.
Yeah.
So this is 2, and then this one is 3. And then the stamp that's on here is 4.
Yeah, and then you had to cut out the outline of the stamp.
Yeah, you can vector it, but it gets a little flamey, and we didn't like that. So it's really easy to cut with scissors. So, the live demonstration, I want to stamp
Present.
this
Present. Did you sign this? Is it valid?
it's not valid yet. It's
not
okay.
valid to sign.
I'm not an official.
All right.
Quickly sign
Unlike
it.
some members of my family, I'm not officially a member of any government organization.
All right.
Okay.
It's valid.
It's valid.
Oh, okay,
It's
good.
valid. Okay. Let's stamp.
I wasn't gonna let you slide anyway. All right, so
All right. So
I
you gotta
gotta
stamp
do it
it.
over here. Stamp.
Beep, beep. Oh, look at you! You're so official.
Ah.
I know, and then so it's inked,
Okay.
and then let's see which one is this one.
Yeah, it's that one. Entry visa.
So I push it down, and then like we get. Oh, it's okay. It's gonna look like an official.
Yeah, they always.
That's exactly what it's like.
Do you have to usually press it that hard, or is it?
No, I need it.
The ink pad's all dry.
I didn't ink it sufficiently. Officially
Oh, there you go.
bureaucratic.
All
Stamp.
right.
It always is a little blurry.
And
Okay.
what's it that you put it on the Hackaday logo? I designed that logo when I founded Hackaday. So it's
So yeah, you did a nice
we planned
triangle
this.
with
I based this one, so I looked at my passport, and like the German ones are kind of boring. They're just rectangles, and then like the English ones are like rounded rectangles. And this one, the Dominican Republic had a
This is a
triangular
cool.
one, so I was like,
it's nice. Well, if you have like a laser cutter, why not? And then you got a
today? The 9th?
7th.
Okay, so it's set on the 3rd. So here's just like a date stamp from the office supply store. The 7th, you say?
7th. Yeah.
So April 7th.
Okay.
And then I'm going to stamp it with this red one.
Get
Contrasting
plenty of
colors.
ink.
Lots and lots of ink.
Okay.
And then I left a little rectangle open for stamping the date.
All right.
Okay.
Let's
Very
get a close-up.
official.
Nice.
And you'll be able to get it stamped at
NYC
NYC
Resistor.
Resistor.
Okay.
Their stamp is really cool. It's Adam Mayer made a stamp called the Bureaucrat that stamps the numbers of the date.
They were giving looks. It was
Yeah,
like,
right, yeah.
is that really you?
Right.
It's like,
And mine looks nothing like me because it's from
Yeah.
like 8 years ago, and I had red hair. And
How long are you going to be here again?
yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah,
Right.
what I think is really neat about the laser program, the laser stamping program, is it does this smart thing where it reverses it, so you don't have to it does a reverse and inverse thing. So you actually, the picture that you print on the laser is what you want it to look like. Which is
Yeah,
kinda nice,
and it
'cause,
flips
like,
it over itself. You draw a fence around it. Look, check out the tutorial. Here, I will link it again.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And
Make your own stamps, and then show them to us, please.
Yeah, and some people made some other stamps. This is
Yeah, and
from
immediately
LV1.
there was
Yeah,
more
this is another
stamps.
Hackerspace stamp.
That's a nice. I like
Very
the little
cool.
round stamp. Is that
Physics dude is mentioning there's a few stamp handles on Thingiverse, so that's cool. You can print. So we just had
you
this
can lasers. This is a
Yeah.
standard sort of.
this
stamp.
wooden one that we just got because we wanted to do it quick.
Is this from Laserbits too? You
Yeah,
just get,
all we just did one Laserbits order for this whole project.
They do have a lot of stuff. They're not the cheapest, but if you want something, they always have it.
So also, can you use the stamp to make PCBs?
No, because you need to have like full coverage.
Mm.
There are some tutorials that have been posted on Hackaday on doing, like paint. I tried it too. You can
Yeah, I
paint,
tried it too,
you can
yeah.
spray paint and then laser off the spray paint, but like it actually takes more time.
It
I
takes
found
forever.
than just because you have to do
Yeah.
like multiple passes. I found it was just easier to just do photoresist or something.
I tried to do 3D printing with our laser. I would put sugar and then etch it with the laser and then lower the bed and put more sugar. It was okay, but I was the 3D
You got, like, a
printer.
triangle.
Yeah, I was the 3D printer, and that's not scalable. So, anyways, one last bit of news, and then we'll go right into the interview with Jessica and you. We had a little contest. Name the Adafruit mailbag entity. Every Thursday we have mailbag posts. So meet the new named mailbag entity, Packet.
Packet.
Yeah,
Packet.
He's a
That's
little
it.
packet.
He's cute.
every Thursday.
Packet
we-
is-
Hi,
dude.
Mr. Packet.
It's an envelope. I mean,
I guess that's true. Packet. Yeah, he counts
it's
as
an
a guy,
entity.
though.
He does.
I mean, maybe
They're-
envelopes aren't gendered.
their
I don't
kind
think
does not
so.
have gender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Even
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's up. So every Thursday we have emails or things that people send us, and it's on the Adafruit site. Okay, now on to the main event. Well, first, site goes Parallax. Parallax is about 10% off many kits in the Adafruit store. Use code Parallax on checkout and get 10% off many of your purchases at the Adafruit store. Okay, all right, here we are. It's a Parallax Power Hour.
Wow, this is kind of a nice,
All right.
it's a nice border you got there.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're really pro with this Ustream producer software.
getting there.
Okay, so now we've had so many great guests on the show, so it's exciting. Yet another awesome woman, teacher, technologist, engineer person, Jessica Ullman
Hello.
from Parallaxian Jess on Twitter,
Yes.
and you're at Parallax. And do you want to tell a little bit about yourself, just like what you like to do and stuff in general?
What's your title at
Oh,
Parallax?
yeah,
What
sure.
do you
Yeah,
do?
what do you do?
Yeah. Oh, I'm the engineering manager. So, yeah.
You manage the engineers.
Right.
You hit
You
them
know.
with sticks.
I heard cats. You know.
And
Question
here I'll pop in just real quick. So you also want to Makey
Yes.
for your educational videos.
Yes.
We can't
And
see
people
them.
love
Yeah.
people love your videos. You know what? We should actually get a puppet one day.
Oh, we should.
That would be awesome.
I should just get a robot puppet.
You should.
Ada-bot.
Yeah. Anyways.
Puppet.
So
Um,
and so you're well known. A lot of people know you from your educational videos.
Mhm.
In fact, you just posted up one about soldering a little robot badge.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to wear my earrings.
So-
I should have
Oh,
done that.
So tell us about your
Yeah.
job at Parallax.
So
what
yeah, what
do
do
you
you do? What, I know that you managed to herd cats, but what
Right.
what have you done? What do you do? Maybe not, because I know that you just got promoted.
Right. Yeah.
But,
So this happened. Yeah. Late last year, right before Maker Faire.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
but
In
what?
New York.
So what do you do? So what do you do? You come in and then you.
I answer a lot of emails.
You answer a lot of
you know,
emails.
Yeah. So try and do the videos whenever I can.
Yeah.
Now, because that's what I really love to do. I mean,
Yeah, you like
that's,
to video.
that's fun. I like teaching. you
How
know.
many people are at Parallax?
We're about 45.
Okay, so it's
So-
not too many people. It's still
Right.
somewhat flat. So the
Right.
engineering and marketing and production and everything, they all kind of like you all have lunch together because there's not that many people.
Right. Yeah.
You can
we all
still
work
fit
together.
yours, right?
Parallax provides lunch, so we all eat together. It's
Oh,
pretty,
that is handy.
it's pretty
That's handy.
sweet.
Yeah, and you guys are in California. And what town are you in?
We're in Rockland, so
Rockland.
that's just outside of Sacramento.
Okay.
So like 25 minutes.
Okay, that's cool. And you live in the area. You just drive to work. And
I live in Sacramento.
Oh, okay.
To get like the downtown.
that's super handy.
Cool
I live in
feel.
Sacramento. I should visit. Maybe we'll visit Parallax next time we're in town.
Yeah, you should.
So Parallax, you guys have been around for like a really long time.
Yes.
You're like the wise old, not old, but like
Right.
you're like the
Right. We're the Yoda.
you're the
Yeah.
Yoda. Yeah, that's what I mean. I want to make it seem like you're like the crone, but
Right.
But you guys have been around. Like I've used Parallax stuff in school when I was in school. So when was Parallax founded? Like in
1985.
wow.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that is quite a while ago.
Right.
And you guys were founded by.
Chip Gracie and
Chip Gracie.
Lance Wally.
And what's the story behind that? They were geeks. I mean, it's 85. That's like right in the middle of like California
Right.
Silicon Rush,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, so Chip was always into developing and making things and, would be in his room in high school making add-on products for the Apple II and selling them.
That's cool.
And then that just kind of merged into Parallax. And then made the Basic Stamp 1, then the Basic Stamp 2, which really took off because it brought microcontrollers to, you know, the everyday hobbyist. You didn't have to know assembly. And
yeah. Why did you? I mean, this is like we don't know because he's not here, but we can guess. Why did he decide to go with something like a microcontroller instead of like something like a computer like the Apple? Why not make a breakout for the Apple II? Because the Apple IIs were sold up until like the mid '90s.
Right.
Still quite popular. Right. Why not make something that just attached to that? Because there was dev board. You could attach like a parallel port and do dev, but why make something standalone? It's kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah, I think just because he liked the at-home hobbyist DIY, you know, small scale, making useful products that you can take with you or kind of put anywhere. And
he liked embedded stuff because that was still kind of alien to people because it was they were still moving from like microcomputers and mini computers to desktop, and that was already kind of weird. So this was like the next step to take it in the home. So he developed. So he did this Apple stuff, but then you'd think that you would say that the Basic Stamp is where it like really took off.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So the Basic Stamp is like, and it's gone through like 5 or 6 revisions now, right?
Yes, yeah, and there's many different models.
And there's branch out. Do you know anything about the first one?
We still sell it. Yeah.
Really?
Right. Yep. Yeah, people still enjoy using the Basic Stamp 1.
The Basic Stamp 1. And when did that come out? About?
I think I have no idea.
90s?
Early 90s.
Yeah, early 90s. And so the thing about the Basic Stamp that's interesting, and the thing is actually, like, so I used that in school when we were learning about computer stuff. The interesting thing about the Basic Stamp is, it was, when I first realized what was going on, because like I learned enough about it, it actually is a little microcontroller, and it runs basic programs that are hard-coded into a piece of flash or EEPROM. So it's not like what people think of as microcontroller programming now, where you actually burn it into the flash. The flash of the chip it was actually one-time programmable because, as a lot of young kids don't know these days, you couldn't flash program chips. Yeah. Right? You would actually have to get a UV box and you'd place the chip underneath this little glass top, and you'd have to burn it. So that actually made it very hard for people to program because you'd have to sit there for like 15, 20 minutes, get a coffee, come back. Well, you'd have like 3 chips and you'd cycle them out, exactly what you do. But that made it impossible to actually do code. So what was interesting is he realized, like, I'll one-time program the chip, but then have this non-executable memory, but then it would read from it to run the basic commands. And he thought BASIC was just like it's a good language for this. It's simple. Right.
And I mean, especially at the time, it was a really popular language.
And what was he aiming Basic Stamps for? Was it for kids, or was it for college or industry? Did he have an idea, or was he just like, I'm gonna make this thing?
And pretty much, I'm gonna do this.
I think this thing. Yeah. Okay. So fast forward. So you guys now have like dozens of different Basic Stamps. And what's kind of the difference between them? Just like more powerful, or what's?
Faster processing speed, more memory.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things.
Okay. And the Basic Stamp it's actually a little module, and you plug it in.
Right.
And then one of the things that, I don't know who came up with this, but somebody came with the idea, like, okay, well, let's make like a robot, and the Basic Stamp is the brain. But then you have motors and sensors and LEDs and wires and batteries. And so that was kind of the next step, right? That was the next evolution, was realizing, like, there needs to be like a project, kind of like Lego. It's no longer just bricks. It's like you build a Millennium Falcon.
Right.
Okay. So that's where you come in, because you help.
Right. We want to help you make your projects a reality. Yeah. And teach you how to do them.
And a lot of that is you guys still do a lot with schools. Like schools are a big part of it. And Parallax is known for your great documentation, and you work with teachers. And I know you have like a forum just for teachers where they can get help and stuff. About how many like schools do you think are currently using Basic Stamp? Do you even know?
I have no idea.
It's a lot. Thousands.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And then what ages do you feel like kids get started with this, like 14, 15?
We're seeing actually as young as 4th, 5th grade.
Wow.
Using the Basic Stamp. And it's a great first programming language.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's easy to get into. You start learning, logic and sequential programming and kind of the basic overview of what programming is without, funny syntaxing. And
I always heard of it as sort of like we did Logo.
Okay.
They obviously do not do Logo anymore, because Logo was like the one thing the Apple II did really well, and I can't imagine that they do that anymore. But for many, many, many years, it was like Logo, and then the Basic Stamp, I always remembered it as being so like, it's like Logo, but it's like physical.
Right.
Like Lego logo, but it's like a physical type of logo. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. And so people still really love using the basic stamp, but I always got the feeling that like, okay, well, the basic stamp wasn't very powerful. I mean, like, it is a little bit limited, and so that's why Chip was like, I know, I'm going to develop the propeller.
Right.
Basically, I think that's, or maybe he just said I want to build the propeller, and I'm going to come up with
that's also how it goes. You know, Chip just gets to see his ideas and then he makes them reality. I mean, he's just
so he actually got like a chip fab, pretty much, right?
Right.
I mean,
yeah, it's completely custom design, all pretty much by him.
That's cool. And then what did he have a goal with the propeller? I mean, like, it's good at some things, but like, what do you ever? Does he ever say like, I really like that the propeller does this or that? Like, what was?
Yeah. So he was really into, from what I've heard, is speech and synthesis and audio, processing audio. So that's really why he went after doing Propeller. And
video and audio is something that's very, very hard to do in a microcontroller because a lot of people, I mean, we should just mention it, audio is 44 kilohertz and 16-bit, and video is like times more than that. Even something like VGA or NTSC out is actually like, we're talking about megahertz and megahertz, and even though people are so used to seeing video and audio, they don't realize that you actually need quite a bit of computational power to do it. But that's something that the Propeller is actually really good at because it's incredibly fast.
Right. Yeah, so there was that too, and then the idea of having a microcontroller-driven, computer. So, using VGA for your monitor, you can connect PS2 keyboard and mouse to it. Yeah. So you can make your own mini computer.
So it's kind of like bringing back this like Commodore, and Apple II, and like the BBC Micro, that kind of like, okay, you actually can control the entire computer. Hey, is there actually a computer kit? Has anyone actually built a computer where it's like you're typing and like you can program it?
I think they have. I don't know if it's for sale, but I'm sure there's somebody on the forums
somebody I'm sure has made it.
All this stuff. Video games are really popular too.
Okay, so do you know where? So you guys designed the Propeller in when were you there in California?
Rockland.
Rockland. Yeah. But then where is it actually fabbed? Do you know? Or?
Austria Microsystems.
Oh,
yeah.
I know them. So. They was just checking out some of their chips. That's cool. So like you actually contract with them and they fab it. Yep. That's really neat. They were recently bought by Taos, which also makes great light sensors.
We sell some of them.
Yeah, they're good light sensors. They're a good team. Okay, so, and what's interesting is you guys actually, which I think was neat, is that even though this is a very high-speed processor, it's 8 cores at 80 megahertz, you still have a DIP version.
Right.
So we used it in the Y box because it can do Ethernet and video at the same time, and it's like doing color video especially is very, very hard. I mean, AVR can do it, but you need like another chip. But what's neat about the Propeller is you can actually do it on chip. And so are you seeing like people move from the basic stamp then upgrading to the Propeller, or are they going straight to the Propeller like first thing?
You get a little bit of both. So I mean, you have people that have been using the basic stamp for 15 years, and then being like, hey, this Propeller thing seems kind of neat. I'm gonna try it. And one of our forum members wrote a basic compiler for it, so you can make that easy transition.
And then some exciting news is you guys have a GCC compiler in the works.
Yes.
So people who like to write code in C or C++ will be able to use Mac, Windows, or Linux to code the Propeller, which just sounds really great because a lot of people like C, and C is also a very good language, for high-speed processing because it's a very light language.
Right.
You get to mess with bytes and stuff. So that's cool for people who I never really got very good at spin, so that's good for me because I like to do more Propeller stuff.
When is the GCC stuff coming out?
So we're in alpha testing right now. So it's code.google.com/p/propgcc. And you can get all of the alpha.
So you can check it out, but
it check it out right now.
may or may not work compile.
And then beta should be, next couple weeks. And then we'll have a simple IDE to go along with the beta release.
That's really exciting.
So right now it's just command line. So if you don't want to muck with the command line, then.
And the cool stuff about the Propeller, so the thing is, so a lot of people ask, like, when would I use a basic stamp? When would I use an Arduino? And when would I use a Propeller? So I think a basic stamp is kind of for people who, they don't even really want to learn C. They want something that has great documentation, that's hit the ground running. Yeah. Like there's lots of documentation for all the chips, and it's very easy to get going. You don't even have to learn about brackets and stuff.
Right.
And then the Arduino is kind of in that middle ground where it's like, okay, maybe you want like something a little bit more powerful, but it's not much faster than the basic stamp. And then
but it also has analog.
So but it has analog input, so that's kind of nice. Although you can get analog digital conversion. Right. And then the next step up is the Propeller. And the thing about the Propeller is it's got 8 cores, and so it's actually got 8 separate microcomputers inside. They can all talk to each other, but they actually run all at the same time.
Right.
So instead of using interrupts, you actually have everything going at once, which is kind of like getting your mind blown. It's like, whoa!
It is. It's a
like,
totally new concept for people, right? 'Cause
Right.
that's the first thing is like, where's the interrupts? It's like, well,
no, you don't need them. Course, so you
Right.
just-
And it's like, what? Wait.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's
like
like
so-
a different way of thinking.
So instead of having an interrupt to like, run a servo or something, you actually just like have a whole core and you can have the core run. And then it runs really, really fast. So it
Right.
has, you put a 5 megahertz crystal on it and it clocks it 40 times. So it's actually running at 80 megahertz and 80 instructions per, I don't know exactly the architecture inside, but 80 instructions, 80 megahertz, so it's 80 million instructions per second.
Right.
Right, that's the math. Go math! Another interesting thing about it is it's got a von Neumann architecture, right? Where the RAM is shared between...
Right.
RAM is... The program is loaded into RAM, and then it's shared between... there's a stack and a heap. Like, not even a stack and a heap.
Well,
it's like program memory, stack and heap are all together in one chunk of like 64K RAM. Or 32. 32K
64 total, and then the other 32 is the spin translator.
Right.
So.
Which is kind of interesting. I was like, okay, that's interesting, but I can see now why they do it. And but you can also run from Flash because there's some weird hacks you can do. Although it's where you can run from Flash, you can roll it into RAM or not. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't remember if it's Harvard or von Neumann. I can never keep this straight, but I think it's that one. Anyways, doesn't matter. You guys know what I mean. Okay, so that's really cool. So you guys are doing, so like for example, we just went to Radio Shack a couple weeks ago and we saw that you guys actually have Propeller stuff in Radio Shack now.
Yes.
And you guys are doing a lot more stuff with Radio. You kind of have had stuff in and out, but now you have...
Right, yeah, we've always kind of been there, a couple of sensors, and now with their big DIY push, we were really able to get a lot more into their stores, which
so
is
what can I go to Radio Shack and get right now?
So you can get a dip version of the Propeller.
Okay, really? Just a chip?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. At least we have retail packaging for it, and we developed our retail packaging for Radio Shack, so you know.
Not all stores have everything, so
right,
I didn't
exactly.
see it there, but that doesn't mean...
Yeah. You can get a quick start board, which is a quick start for the Propeller. You have access to every single I/O pin. You completely configure it to whatever you'd like it to be.
Yeah.
There's capacitive touch buttons on it and LEDs and all that stuff, so you could do blinkies and all that cool stuff.
Yeah, we're going to carry the quick start board. We just haven't ordered it yet.
Yeah, cool.
It's on the way.
Yeah. And then a bunch of sensors, so compass, gyro, accelerometer, ping ultrasonic sensor, standard servos.
Yeah.
Just kind of a smorgasbord of items.
Okay, and then another thing that's interesting about the Propeller is because it's so high speed and it can do multiple things at once. It's actually good for certain things like robotics. It's actually very good at robotics platform. So, for example, you guys have a new quadcopter.
Yes.
And this and I was actually thinking, like, wow, you can do like a propeller chip. Not only is it funny that it's a propeller and it's a quadcopter, it's like it's got 4 propellers and there's another propeller. Anyways, but it's actually it's a good chip for that kind of high-speed sensor integrate, because you want to have a lot of speed to be able to have each core handle, like each rotor or each core handle each sensor, and massage the data, because that way you don't you can more quickly respond, so you have less instability issues.
Right.
So that's a new thing, and that was that was developed by a friend of Parallax, and you guys worked with him.
Right. So they did. So it was a company called Hoverfly, and the founder and president actually is my college professor who introduced me to Parallax.
Okay, so you're just like, you have to kind of work with him.
Right.
You do great.
But yeah, so he developed the board, and then because that's their business, is they sell quads, so they do it for like photography and television and kind of these things where they were using actual helicopters, but it's a lot cheaper to use a quadcopter. And so they sell quads for that.
I always wondered, in California, there's so much farming there. People should be using quadcopters for agriculture. Think of how much easier it would be. It'd be like, I don't want to have to go. Like, I mean, California is acres and acres, and like thousands of acres of fields. And if you had a quadcopter that could, even a big one, go out, check everything, come back, send video, that'd be really cool.
And it's huge for real estate too. We've got tons of people in real estate that are interested in getting them.
and spying on people.
Next up, there's a big event coming up.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, the
Parallax
Parallax Expo.
And where can they see all these exciting propeller things?
Right, at the Parallax Expo. Next week, Friday and Saturday, the 13th and 14th, there'll be quadcopter demos and competitions.
Whoa.
So there'll be a kind of battling situation where there's streamers and you have to cut the streamers, and then also balloon popping at different intervals. So
Okay.
it's just you flying it and trying to pop some balloons.
That's totally like Arkham City.
Yeah,
You fly through
yeah.
the-
Yeah.
But with quadcopters.
Way more fun.
That's cool. So, and then where is this? This is at the Parallax
Right.
headquarters?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's in Rockland. Totally free. We've got about 1,200 people on Eventbrite. So
Wow.
they're coming already. Yeah.
That
so
is
it'll be
that's a really big show.
It'll be a big event.
And it's gonna be showcase everything or mostly propeller stuff.
Everything. So it'll be also combined with the unofficial Propeller Expo that happens every year. That's hosted by Jeff Ledger. And so it'll be combined with that. There'll be propeller talks. We'll also have a robot line following competition.
Yeah.
So celebrating National Robotics Week, and a lot of cool fun stuff.
Okay, that's a good like wrap up of Parallax. Do you want to answer some Parallax questions
Well,
and we'll talk about the robot?
Yeah, what I thought we would do real quick is show off the little board education bot.
Okay.
We have a quick video so you guys can
Okay.
get a little drink of
Yeah.
Gatorade and water.
Yeah.
So we're going to show the little
Hydrate.
robot, and then we'll show the bot, and then we'll just open it up for questions.
Okay. Oh yeah.
That's a robot, and that's one of the newer products that
this is one of the
Parallax just released.
Latest thing. So this is kind of neat. So the Bobot is like your number one, not number one, but it's like one of your
It's
top
very top seller. Yeah.
seller. And it's neat because it's what I like about the Bobot, and I'm actually really glad that you guys came out with this version for Arduino, because it's actually one of the best made robot kits. First off, it's got a really nice ball caster right here, which is it's really solid and strong. And you've got these servos, and servos are really easy to work with. And you've got this like really nice aluminum, I think it's aluminum,
Yes.
case, and it's got lots of great mounting holes all over it. And then the photos of the project, you can see the mounting holes. And then you've got this little breadboard so people can attach sensors, and you bring some sensors into the mix, but then people can add more. And then on the bottom, there's this nice battery pack, and it's you can pretty much plug it in, ready to go, and that's totally cool. So this is something that used to be a basic stamp board on top,
Right.
and then you guys decided, okay, well, we want to also get people who do Arduino stuff to work with the Parallax Robotics. So you guys made a version of this that it's basically, I can show it on the overhead, or we can just show a photo of it, but an Arduino fits underneath.
Right.
And then you can actually still get to the header, so if you wanted to attach stuff, it's really easy. And they're also brought out to this sort of standard nice header breakouts. And so this is a new thing. And what were you thinking when you kind of came up with this? Because this is like a new thing, because usually you guys only have propeller and basic stuff. So this is the first time that you're like, okay, well, we're gonna try to get all these Arduino people interested in this stuff too.
Yeah. So it's mainly basically what you said. It was customer requests. I mean, so we got a lot of requests for it, and so we were like, yeah, you know what, cool. So
Yeah, we have. I don't have the puppet yet, but I'll talk off camera. One of the problems we have is there isn't. We get a lot of requests for robotic platforms and chassis and all that stuff, and for our Arduino customers, and all there was really crappy stuff, and we just can't. We're not going to sell that.
This is the first robot kit that we sell.
This is the first robotics kit that we sell. We were waiting for someone, so that's why we were really happy to see Parallax have this, because we're like, oh, this is finally it's here. There's a ton out there. You can get really cheap and crappy stuff on eBay or other big electronics sellers, but all you just hear about is disappointment.
Right.
And these go through a little bit of abuse because kids are using them and they're falling off the table.
I dropped it off the table at least 5 times.
Yeah.
I've dropped so many robots.
Yeah, no, these are not made out of acrylic. So I see robot chassis that are made out of acrylic, and I'm like, okay, well, and then they have holes cut in them, and I've cut enough acrylic to know that I mean, you can make it in a way so it won't just shatter on impact, but you actually have to put a little more thought than most of these robot chassis are. So yeah, I really like this chassis, and so that's why we have it in the shop, and it comes with like your great servos and the wheels, and then I like how you can like attach stuff to it really easily, like sensors and stuff. And so this is a really good mix, and also there's a lot of really good tutorials out there for using sensors with Arduino, and so like people can take this, build a robot, and then there's some sensors that you guys may not have. They could add onto this, and so there's a big ecosystem that you're part of, which is cool. So yeah, this is a really exciting, and yeah, that's why.
Also, is a chassis grounded?
No, the chassis is not connected to anything. It's floating, which is fine. I mean, like it's 6 volts. I don't think you. I mean, it doesn't make sense to ground something if it's not earth grounded, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, the plated holes are grounded. So.
Oh, it is grounded.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it's connected to like the battery ground.
Right.
But still, it's still
but
floating.
yeah.
It's not earth ground.
One of the things I like about Parallax products that you can see all the way down to their documentation is the attention to details. That's what we try to do here. A really good example is your educational materials they're spiral bound.
Yeah.
So you can fold them flat on a desk.
Right.
And like that's like, okay, it's not a big innovation, but it's someone actually went through all the tutorials. And one of the things I like about the documentation for this bot is you're putting it up as it's happening on the website. And we've been posting up the chapters. Do you know anything about the authors who are doing the documentation?
So it's Andy Lindsay, who's actually written pretty much all of our educational books and materials, and he's great. So he's completely porting the Robotics with the Bobot material to, or the basic stamp Bobot to Robotics with the Arduino Board of Education. So, I mean, still the same high quality stuff that he's written.
Luckily the diagrams are very similar too, because it's
right. I mean, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. So,
that's cool.
Okay.
Great. Do you want
to open it up to general questions?
Yeah.
General questions.
Do you have questions
about? Could be about Parallax.
Parallax.
Could be about just about anything.
About anything.
We'll
we can answer any kind of questions.
If there's
how
any
to
time,
manage engineers.
Yeah.
Jessica will tell us all of her how to manage engineers secrets.
And if we got time, maybe we'll talk about some new products. But
you
we'll
should
see.
tell Adabot because he has to manage.
Okay. Does the propeller have a low power mode? If yes, what is the power consumption and peripherals in each power mode?
I think it doesn't. It has one, right?
Yeah, it just has one, and it's 20 microamps. I want to say. I don't know.
If you have, I think you can.
Yeah.
You cannot run all the cores if the cores aren't running.
Right.
So you can run one core only.
Right.
And also how fast you clock it makes a big difference too. I know that when you have all 8 cores going, full speed at full 80 megahertz, it draws like 100 milliamps.
Yeah.
So, but that's to be expected. It's 8 microcontrollers.
Okay. Next up, we'll switch these out of order so we can get to them. Can you say what your #1 selling product is?
Yeah, I would say actually it's the Bobot.
Bobot.
Yeah.
Great.
Tons of schools. Project Lead the Way.
They love it.
So, yeah.
What does an engineering manager do?
Manage engineers.
Showing them their work done.
Yeah, it's a lot of scheduling, basically. I mean, so it's coordinating, making sure our products are, coming out at the right times. They're being designed to our standards and thoroughly tested.
You have to put blinders on the engineers so that they go in the direction that.
Right.
Because otherwise they kind of veer off, and you're like, wait.
Or nothing ever gets finished because nothing's ever perfect.
You're like, I got distracted, and then I did another thing, and then another thing, and you're like, no, we have to get this robot done.
Right. The way I always looked at it is, to be a good manager, you had to actually do the thing that you're asking other people to do. You have to have your hands dirty, and you have to have the interpersonal skills to interact with people, and then also solve other people's problems, because it's all about how one group can talk to another group, another person can talk to another person. So a lot of it is you're a psychologist.
Yes.
You're solving issues, interpersonal issues. You're trying to get the best work out of people. You're trying to inspire them. You can be a manager by fear, or you can be a manager by encouragement.
Right.
It's
I don't think I can pull off the fear thing. So there's not a whole lot.
You don't look too scary. You look really friendly.
But
next up. What is the current output of a propeller pin? 20 milliamps?
It's probably about 20, 40
milliamps. 20, 30, I want to say.
30.
Yeah. For teaching to a small, for teaching this to small people, I don't know if they mean size or age. What order of microcontrollers would you teach with Stamp, AVR, ARM, FPGA?
So, I mean, if it's small, like young kids, we find a lot of success with the basic stamp. And I'm not just saying
like
that,
like this robot is good because you actually get to see it.
Right.
The thing about FPGAs, and I love FPGAs, and they're totally awesome, and like CPLDs are great, but like it's very hard to see what they're doing, right? Because they're very high speed and they're not integrated with sensors and servos. Whereas I think if you're young, you want to be like, oh, the LED's blinking. Right. Oh, the robot moves.
You want to touch it.
Yeah, you want to touch it.
Oh,
it's in the thing.
Right.
Oh, I see. And then you can see how it's doing what it's doing. So I think I understand how that could be key. So starting with basic stamp, and then, or maybe even starting with like this Arduino Bobot, because then you get the documentation,
right?
So that you're not like helpless,
right? And
then once you're more advanced, you can do more stuff. And then a few years down the line, you want to do FPGAs. It's cool, but like most people actually
it's all going sequentially, and you know.
Okay. Next up, any ability to add encoders to these servos? I'm assuming servos are continuous rotation, which works position control.
You can't add encoders directly.
Someone says there's an add-on kit.
Yeah, we have a digital. We have a encoder kit which reads it off of the
there's little holes. Yeah, so you can do that.
Okay. All right.
You can make an encoder by just having a really big thing that fits over, and there's mounting holes, so you can mount or glue it on.
If I'm powering a 12-volt relay using a BJT and an Arduino, do I still need a Flyback diode?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Let's keep moving.
Or you'll fry your BJT.
Okay. Next up. How friendly is the IDE? Similar to Arduino, cross-platform?
What is?
I think they mean Propeller. I'm going to guess.
The Propeller ID, it's not. I don't think the Propeller GCC ID is done yet, right?
No, so we have on the forums. They released it.
Prop tool.
Different.
There's a spin. There's
the prop tool. Yeah, there's a spin. There's a spin IDE, which is. I mean, I feel it's fairly friendly. It's fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
Got highlighting and stuff.
And so, as someone just mentioned this, the Parallax forums. Parallax forums are probably one of the best online forums for people who are into electronics.
Yeah,
just by the way,
I
mean besides Adafruit, but I mean because I go and look at all these forums, and there's forums that I don't like to go to. AVR Freak, sorry, they're mean.
Yeah.
But Parallax, the staff, you actually have staff who's in there at all times.
Yeah, I'm in there.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And that's what we do at Adafruit too. When people post up, not only can customers help each other, but there's staff, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Me personally. And so Parallax, I go there and I see you there and I see the staff, and I like the constant feedback back and forth between the teams that are working on the products and the actual customers.
Yeah, and we'll introduce new products to the forum too, to kind of get that feedback.
Yeah. You guys will be like, hey people, like check this out. Because you guys have like hardcore followers and stuff. Yeah, and the forums are like, they've been around forever.
Right.
Really, yeah. Not forever.
Someone says the Parallax forums are so good that they have too much traffic to keep up with. I mean that as a compliment. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. So.
Well, it's good that you have like a central location. I think that.
Right.
I think that can be a problem when like there's too many places to go, and a lot of other electronics it can be like that. We try to keep all of our customers, and when forums we can help them, but like unfortunately some of them like end up posting on the Arduino forums, and we're like, well, we can't read everything on the Arduino forums, so you have to come here and like. But yeah, it's tough when there's so many places to go.
But it's nice too to take it away because our tech support is 2 people. So it's nice to have that as customers helping customers.
Yep.
I mean,
so
especially at like nighttime.
Right.
One question they say, do you take user input? I assume yes.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, sure.
And then someone wants to know, what's the difference between the Parallax RFID reader and our RFID reader?
We forgot to talk about that.
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
So okay, let's go back to the Parallax thing.
What, this?
So tell me all about the awesome modules that you guys and Joe Grand, who is a friend of Adafruit, have worked on.
Oh yeah. So Joe Grand is awesome, and he he designs a lot of stuff for us.
Yeah.
So he did the RFID reader. He did GPS module. He did the laser rangefinder.
That just came out. That's intense.
And I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but I know he's done
other stuff.
But
now he's working on
the EMIC 2. So he did the EMIC 1. This is
totally
part 2.
Part 2.
Yes. So it was discontinued because the company that made the text-to-speech chip went out of business. So now he's designing the EMIC 2, and it should be coming pretty soon. And it's going to be great. It's you can talk in Spanish too.
Okay, great.
So it's
and Joe Grand will be at the expo, right?
Yep, Joe Grand will be at the expo.
That's cool. That's great. Yeah, I forgot to mention it. But yeah, Joe Grand, who has done all sorts of hacking stuff, and now works with you guys a lot, and yeah, that's like how I know what he's up to. And I'm like, there's another module that he designed for.
Yeah. And then one last thing I wanted to mention is not too long ago, the Parallax folks joined the open source hardware community. David Carrier is involved.
Yes.
He was at the summit, and Parallax put stuff under open source hardware licenses. And in Radio Shack on the packaging, it has the little open source hardware logo.
Oh, so
First bit of packaging to go into Radio Shack.
But
with a
Phil,
logo.
when will open source hardware go mainstream, Phil?
Yeah, I know. You know, people stopped asking that. Yeah.
Well, it's in like 5,000 stores around the country. Okay, you done yet?
Yeah, we don't really get that question anymore, which is interesting.
Okay.
No one asks.
All right, we don't have to. I just wanted to go because I forgot that I wrote down. I wanted to ask.
What
about
is
the dynamic module.
FEQ? Someone wants to know. FEQ.
But anyway, so the Rfid module that you guys do, I think it's 125 kilohertz.
Yes.
And the Rfid module that we have is NFC and 13.56 megahertz, so it's meant for NFC stuff and MyFair stuff. It can't do 125. 125 is good for slightly longer ranges. I think you can do like this far with it, or how far? I don't know. But this far. Scientific. So it's about like a foot, whereas ours is 10 centimeters, is 4 inches or so.
Okay. One last question, and then we'll skip over the new products. But we'll just talk about what they were going to be if we had time. The interview stuff always goes really long. What is the pin noise on the Propeller? Is there a lot of pin noise? You want to know how bad the pin noise is?
Anytime you're talking about 80 megahertz, it's noisy. I mean, it doesn't have ADC, so it doesn't really matter. If you're going to do analog stuff, split your grounds, have separate supplies, and you can do ADC stuff. But nothing running at 80 megahertz is going to be quiet.
Okay. We only have a few minutes left. An hour goes by fast. So we're not gonna do new products really, except for the fact that we're just gonna. This is what we were gonna show. We have some new slip ring.
Yeah, we
stuff.
have a micro slip. You don't want me to show this really fast?
Yeah, show it super fast because folks always ask. We won't be able to get questions about this.
Yeah, so we show the overhead.
Yeah. So here they are.
Miniature slip ring. It's so small. You could swallow it, but it's a slip ring.
Yep.
6 wire, and then we also have Big Bertha.
Yeah.
Whoa. This can fit inside of this one.
I heard you like slip rings, so you can slip ring while you slip ring.
So this slip ring is a hollow bore slip ring, so you can have, something in here, and it twists around, and there's a shaft collar, so you can attach it. So this is good for the capsule ones. You can't slip something through, so you have to design it in a way that it rotates around it. This can actually literally rotate around whatever, so that can be really handy, and it's really solid. So these are a little more expensive, but this is like an industrial slip ring. And if you want this type, this is kind of the way it goes.
We have two small ones that are $17.50 each, and then we have this big one, which is more expensive, of course.
It actually cost me 10 times more, but I didn't want to charge that much, so I made it a little
shop around. If you can find a better deal, let us know.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything.
And then we have just these little 7-segment.
I guess we don't have to show them because they're lit up. So they're 7-segment by 4-character with a little clock dot and also a little degree dot. So you can multiplex them, 8 anodes, and then there's 6 cathodes, one for each digit, and then one for the colon and one for the dot. And so you can use a 595 and then maybe some transistors.
And we're going to be able to make this thing soon. A couple people know who know what this is.
Very awesome.
Yeah, you know what that is.
I know.
Okay.
What that is.
All right.
Yes.
And then we've got a shield, and then that's it. So
LCD.
we probably won't even have time next week to do this because we're going to have another guest, Aya from Little Bits. You're going to see Aya while you're here.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm very excited.
This is the shield that we had for the RGB LCDs. It also works perfectly fine with our white and blue LCDs, which are really bright. So you can have a 5-way keypad and LCD, and it's not RGB, but it's a little less expensive.
Yeah. And then we've got this awesome screen.
Okay, hold on. Let me sign up this.
These are the VFD displays.
This is a massive screen, so I have to bring it over here and then power it with the power. Ba-bang. Let's see if it'll power up. Okay, hold on. So wow, it's so bright. So this is a graphical VFD display, and it's killer bright. But in person, it's actually very sharp contrast. And this is it's daylight readable and it's nighttime readable. They do use a lot of power, but it's a totally gorgeous display. It's 128 by 64 pixels, and the nice thing is it's pretty much all ready to go. It's got a driver chip, RAM, boost converter on the back, and there's just a cable you can connect to, and it's SPI, so it only uses like 4 pins on a microcontroller, and I wrote a library for all the graphics for it, so you can load bitmaps or squares or triangles or whatever, all the standard graphic stuff. So if you want a really bright, awesome looking display, this is it. This is like the biggest and the brightest we got.
Okay, so that was our really short and fast.
Super fast.
Robotics, yeah.
Ninja.
So just check it out. We might not have time to get to them next week either, so check it out.
Huge.
That's massive.
Yeah, it's massive. Still bigger than I thought, but you know, that's how it is.
Okay, and while you're in New York, you're going to see some folks from Make,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then you have NYC Resistor
Yep.
visit,
Yep. That'll be tomorrow.
Little Bits.
Little Bits and MakerBot.
That is like a full.
New York is
stamp.
a maker mecca now, right? Like it's a place
it really is.
One of our visits that we want to go to, so Shapeways,
Is it Midtown?
They're-
No, in Union Square.
they have a space
Oh, okay.
coming up soon
Oh,
too.
Cool.
And then there's also Collab. That's where Little Bits is at, and also
They're in
Diana
Soho.
Eng is there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. And then there's Third Ward.
Yeah, then Brooklyn.
This is,
Oh, yeah.
This is neat. And then we'll probably be expanding soon, so we'll have another space.
Awesome.
All right. Okay. So I think it's trivia question time.
Ooh.
Trivia question.
Trivia question.
All right. Do the rules.
The rules are, if you've won before, and many of you have, go get yourself like some ice cream or something, and don't be like, oh, I accidentally typed in the answer, because we want people to only win once so that everyone has a chance, even newbies and beginners and whatever.
Open a text editor and type it there.
Yeah, type it in the text editor if you really can't help yourself. The winner will be the first person with the right answer when we see in our window, and you win a robot.
Yeah. We're gonna give away one of these awesome robots.
Yes.
Tonight.
You just need to add an Arduino.
Yeah.
Most people have
Arduino
one.
not included.
Most people have one, so it's not
All right. So if you paid attention to the chat tonight, here is the trivia question. Type the 2 people who founded Parallax.
Who are the names of the 2 people who founded Parallax?
Jessica said it. You listened to it. The answer is not 42. That's a number.
Well, technically, it's the answer to the
First and last name.
Yeah, first and last names of the 2
If you go to
founders.
parallax.com and look at the, it's not Ben and Jerry. First and last name.
It's not Packet, that's the name.
Laurel and Hardy's wrong. If you go to Parallax and go to the About section and look at the company history, you can do it too. It's not Chip Gracie and Ken Gracie.
That's a good guess. That's who I would have
Ken
thought.
Gracie is the president of Parallax.
He is, yes.
Let's see who's on the page reading it fast enough. Alex Trebek is not correct. Rihanna and Jay-Z is not correct.
That'd be cool if they started doing no chance.
I'm surprised this is the first time that the chat is...
This is like one of the
yeah.
nicest prizes, too. This is like a big-ass robot.
Yeah.
Well, we're just going to wait here till somebody does.
Yeah.
We should, if we get some, like, cat-friendly ink, we could put MOSFET's paw as a stamp.
Oh.
That would be so cute. Or
That'd be so cute.
yeah, or we could like take a
So
scan of his paw
I'll
and
give
Oh,
some
that's
folks
true. We
some
should
hints. If you
Xerox
go to
his
parallax.com
do it in
And do
Photoshop
it, yeah.
and make a stamp of his
MOSFET
paw.
approved.
and you go to
MOSFET.
About Parallax.
Like that?
All right. Alright.
Okay,
Oh, did somebody get it?
Jack got it. Chip Gracie and Lance
Oh,
Wally.
Jack got it! Hell yeah!
Yay.
Excellent. So I'll post a link to
You
where
and
the
a
answer
robot.
Jack from the show and tell.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is Lance still there, or what's?
No.
No, he's
He
on.
left a while ago.
He's on to something else.
So that was Parallax, and you said it, so that's why we tried to. I didn't say there was going to be a test at the end, but there's always a test at the end.
There's always a test at the end.
All right.
All right, now
It's time for a cat.
it's time for the cat.
Meow.
Dun dun
All right.
dun dun.
I tried to unvelcro him from
Dun,
my sweater and he picked
dun
my
dun.
hand.
dun.
Meow.
Cat. Oh my God.
Meow.
Yeah.
Muffet, look at the camera, Muffet. Look at me over here. Meow. Meow.
Want me to grab him?
Meow.
Want me to grab him?
We'll pass out across the table.
Pass the cat.
Oh, you
Meow
got
meow
Ceremonial.
meow meow meow.
He's so easygoing, it makes
ceremonial
it like
cat-
my
cat
cat would never tolerate this.
Oh, cat, don't be so sad looking. Life's good for you.
He's chill.
Sometimes he meows when we put him near the camera. That's nice.
Yeah, but it's a better
only,
sign if
only
he
if his
doesn't
wife
meow.
put me down.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the puppet.
Long MOSFET is long.
All right. Thank you, everybody. That was a fast hour. Whew.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody who showed up. We had an awesome show and tell.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for coming out. This is
pleasure.
fantastic. If
Anytime.
you're ever in New York again, please come out.
Yes.
We'll have another.
We can't have guests on the show twice. We're not like We're not like
Right.
you.
It's totally fine.
On the show.
Next week is probably Aya from Little Bits.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a star-studded Ask a Ninja. Last week was Amanda Wozniak.
It's the Ladies of Engineering month.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Second half of March.
Or as I like to call every month.
Yeah.
And special thanks to George Graves, who does all the recording, John Janier, Becky, who's been behind the camera tonight.
Good work, Becky. Becky Hand.
My hands are the most famous part of me now.
I've seen that in a video with a robot.
You have nice nails. I mean, it's like whenever I'm like, oh, I have to do video. Oh, my nails.
Yeah.
Becky, get over here.
Becky.
I'm model Becky.
Right.
I don't mind.
We'll see everybody next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
Here is your moment of Zener. Diode.